Our chief guest today is Shri Anupam Kher, and we'll have the privilege to hear from him right after the screening. Now, let me introduce the first of our honored guests, the producer of this documentary, Mr. Nikhil Singh Rajput. Mr. Rajput is an award winning filmmaker. His debut film, With Love Delhi, was a commercial Bollywood film released in theatres across India. His documentary, Himalayan Refugees, has been to various respected film festivals across the globe. His second self funded film is called Blood Buddhas, another highly acclaimed movie. After finishing his graduation from IIT Delhi, Nikhil pursued his film education at Summer School University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Stateless, the film that you're about to watch, is his second documentary on the subject of asylum seekers in the Indian subcontinent. Nikhil, welcome to the event. We are very excited to watch the film. And before we screen this, we would love to hear from you a small introduction to the movie and your perception of the ground reality.
Right. So thank you for that lovely introduction. As introduced, this is my second film on refugees of Indian subcontinent. And for those of you who are interested, as a filmmaker, we are always looking to highlight stories that are not in popular media. Well, this story is not in popular media the way I saw it. So all the hoopla surrounding the refugees particularly from Sindh, was happening in the media, but nobody really talked to the actual victims. So not one camera team from so many news channels went there. So I saw that gap, and I was immediately intrigued. And I thought their story, we should hear their story from their mouth, and not from somebody else, from somebody else's. So I contacted some of the community leaders. Huge shout out to them and thank you to them, who engage and work with these refugee groups, and also got my dear friend Manvendra on board. He's a respected filmmaker, documentary filmmaker in Jaipur, because we needed that local connect. So me and his entire crew, so we went there and we made this film. And we are just showing you why they've left. No refugee group in the world leaves by their own accord. They leave their home country under dire circumstances, and all those dire circumstances are different depending upon their ethnic background and the countries they are leaving. So this is a special group because they don't go to UNHCR. For those of you who work in this field, would know they don't go to UNHCR. India is a neighboring country, so they come to India and they stay put. So this is their story. I won't tell you their story myself. I've made an entire film for it. So sure, please go ahead and play the film. And I hope everybody likes it.
क्यों आया पाकिस्तान छोड़ रहे हिंदुस्तान क्यों
अच्छा हर कोई दुख आवे है ना बाबा
इधर आग लगाकर अपने बंदों से लगाकर गरीबों को कुटवाया है और मरवाया है इन लोगों ने। अक बंदे आके सानू इथे कुट रहे ने, राजे इम्तियाज दे बंदे आके इथे सानू कुट रहे ने। घर साडे जल गए ने सारे, विच वेख लो सारा कुछ जल गया, विच धुआं ही धुआं वेख लो जी, सारा घर जल गया वा।
परेशानियां बहुत थी वहाँ। जो हमारे हिंदू लोग हैं उनकी कोई इज्जत नहीं है, मुसलमान बहुत दबाव डालते हैं।
लड़कियां देखते हैं इसके घर में हैं, आकर लेकर चले जाते हैं।
उन्होंने बोला मैं मुसलमान हो गई, ना हमें मिलाया गया है ना हमें कोई पता है। 5 दिन से हमें ये रुला रहे हैं, पता नहीं उनसे हमारी बेटी से उन्होंने क्या 5 दिनों में पता नहीं कितना जुल्म किया होगा।
अभी जो रेशो ये है कि मंथ एक महीने में 5-7 केस ऐसे हो रहे हैं। कोई भी मदद के लिए नहीं आता है, सरकार भी नहीं आएगी, कोई भी नहीं आएगा।
वहाँ उनके साथ में न्याय नहीं हो सकता है, कभी भी न्याय नहीं हो सकता है, और वो उनके पास सिवाय पलायन करने के अलावा और कोई जरिया नहीं।
अभी आपके मुल्क में सही के आपने शरण में आ गए हैं, और आप मेहरबानी करे कि सानू नागरिक मिली जावे, बेघर हुए बैठे।
यहाँ का नहीं मानते हैं, कार्ड नहीं बनते, नागरिकता नहीं मिलती है, तब तक हमें गैस नहीं मिलता, बिजली नहीं मिलती। डॉक्टर के पास गए, उन्होंने इलाज ही नहीं किया कि आपका आधार कार्ड नहीं है, सोनोग्राफी होगी नहीं।
बगैर किसी शनाख्त के, बगैर किसी पहचान के, बगैर किसी घर के बंदा कितना सर्वाइव करेगा।
मोने वन में नौक दे, जंगल में नौक दे, जेती नौक दे, मैं पढ़ी आ रहा हूँ। मोरो हाल कर भारत माँ मोरी बार बार गुजारिश है, मोरी हथा जोड़िए, मैं बेकार हो ना थारी सण लीनी है और मोने नागरिक मिली।
सरकार नागरिकता दे दी तो आप पढ़ेंगे?
हाँ जरूर पढ़ लेते हो, नहीं पढ़ लेते।
Wow, what an amazing film, right? Eye-opening, heart-wrenching, and a powerful way to move the conversation forward. My name is Ankur Patel. I'm the Director of Advancement for Hindu University of America. I've run for office before, and I'm a public school teacher from Los Angeles. As a Hindu, I often feel unrepresented or unfairly represented in Western popular culture. And we all know the role that movies and television play in the public consciousness, sharing narratives, and even shaping policy. This issue about people, Hindus who are stateless, fleeing persecution, and not finding help in India, it's sad. And until now, it has been misrepresented in the public dialogue. This is just the beginning of our work, but with your help, Indic Dialogue will bring many interesting and important stories to the public in a way that is beautiful, emotional, and shares a genuine Hindu perspective. So please consider making a contribution, supporting our work, signing up on the website indicdialogue.org. It's in the chat. Next, we have Dr. Jashwant Patel introducing Shri Anupam Kher. Dr. Jashwant Patel is a world-known surgeon from California, specializing in spine and pain management. Dr. Patel.
Namaste, namaste everyone. I am honored and privileged to introduce world-renowned award-winning international actor, artist, author, and motivational speaker, Mr. Anupam Kher. As we know, Anupam ji has appeared in over 500 films and 100 plays. Anupam ji has worked with acclaimed international directors such as Ang Lee, David Russell, well-known Woody Allen, Gurinder Chadda, and Wachowskis. Wow. Anupam ji is a member of Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Science. He was a chairman of institutions such as Film and Television Institute of India, National School of Drama and Film Certificate Board of India. He is a recipient of IFA Award for Outstanding Achievement in Indian Cinemas. He was nominated for the prestigious British Academy Film Awards. He received record-breaking 8 consecutive Filmfare Awards. In addition to all these film things, Anupam ji was bestowed Padma Shri Award, followed by Padma Bhushan. He got Padma Shri in 2004 and Padma Bhushan in 2016. As we know that this is the 3rd highest civilian award in India. This was given to him for his distinguished service for higher orders in the art. In addition to his acting career, Anupam ji has prepares in 2005 the world-renowned acting school. Anupam ji also acclaimed author with 3 published books, and I was so happy to read one of his very good book recently published. Anupam ji, for his work with underprivileged children through the Anupam Kher Foundation, which he founded in 2008, he was awarded with Dalai Lama Award and was also appointed as UN Ambassador for He for She campaign. I mean, list goes on and on. I mean, we don't have enough time to talk about Anupam ji right now, but we all know who he is and what he has given to the society and our culture. So without further delay, I will hand over the stage to the best and well-known Anupam ji. Namaste Anupam ji, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you, Indic Dialogues, for inviting me. Thank you, everybody who has joined us. Good evening to you and good morning to you. After such a powerful documentary. This introduction of mine does not have any meaning because the only thing that we should talk about is what Manvinder and Nikhil have brought forward in this powerful documentary called Stateless. But I also understand the protocol that the speaker has to be introduced. Thank you for such a lavish. I sometimes feel that I've not done all that and I've just begun my work. But to talk about being stateless, I think I'm the right candidate for that, not as an actor, but as a citizen of this country. The film talks about the refugees, Hindu refugees in the neighboring countries. But my community, which is a Kashmiri Pandit community, is stateless in their own country. On the 19th of January 1990, when more than 4 lakh Kashmiri Pandits were thrown out of the valley, it's been 31 years. We are still trying to find our roots. But at least we are in our own country. At least we are dealing with it. We are not a violent community. We have not picked up guns. We believe in education and we believe in still serving our country. We believe that education is the only way to answer sometimes, but that does not mean the fact of the pain that my relatives, my grandparents, and similarly of so many people who you must know that have gone through. I remember when I visited Jagati camp in Jammu, which is a refugee camp for Kashmiri Pandits, where they were given a temporary shelter. It is not the house that matter, it is the memories that matter. So I do understand what these Hindu refugees from the neighboring country must have felt. And I must congratulate the makers of this film to be able to draw the viewer's attention to this, to their plight. When you watch a film like this, you can't even say it's a beautiful film, because it's not a beautiful film, it's a truthful film. When you see the faces of these people, they have agony which the camera captures for that fleeting moment when the director must have said, start sound, camera, and action. And that must have been 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. But what about the other 23 hours and 58 minutes? They're living with that reality. They're living with that pain. A sense of belonging is not there. When a person does not have a sense of belonging, when rich people or when people who have earned money through their hard work, when I live in a hotel for about 15, 20 days, I'm desperate to go to my home, knowing fully that I have a home in Shimla or in Bombay or my relatives in Delhi. But to be in a perpetual state of statelessness is the biggest curse that human beings can make some people go through. So I had watched the film earlier, but I started watching it again and when I joined the panel, and I saw the last 10 minutes. So both Manvinder and Nikhil, thank you so much for doing this film, first of all, number one, and for doing this film and shooting this film in the way which makes my heart goes out to these people. Cinema is a very, very important tool. Cinema is a very, very important medium to bring out the tragedy of people. And I'm glad that you people made this film. Can you imagine that for the last 31 years, all the depiction of Kashmiri Pandits in various films has been so false? so untruthful. They have tried their level best to even bury the fact that it must have happened. They tried their level best to sort of even make this exodus of Kashmiri Pandits, of their women being raped, of being cut into two pieces, of the people being shot dead on the streets of Kashmir in Srinagar or other parts of Kashmir. But truth has its own way of finding its path. I always say that it's very important to keep the wounds alive, because when your wounds are alive, it's not only you see it, you also are able to show it to the world, because that's the only way to make them feel guilty. Unfortunately, even after the Citizen Amendment Act was passed, the kind of fake and unemotional propaganda that started in our country is so shameful. This documentary should be sent to the leaders of all those people who stood in Shaheen Bagh and at some other places, and tell them to watch this documentary and look at the faces of those people. Look at that old man's face who appears in the end in the film. Look at the lady, look at the hopeful face of this boy who is holding the Tiranga. So I congratulate Ankur and all the organizers that today this is the beginning. Don't stop here. It's very important to make people feel guilty, because there is a certain section of society or certain section of people who are speaking lies through their teeth. And they think that by repeating the same lie again and again, they will convert that into truth. That's not going to happen, because there are other people who are also speaking the truth. My grandfather used to say that when you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember it. So when I can say that 84 Karan Nagar, Srinagar Kashmir was my mother's house, and when I went there 10 years back, it was deserted. It was occupied by CRPF. When I went to Nai Sadak in other part of the area near Habakadal, that whole house was demolished. When I say that my mama, Mr. Motilal Kak, had built his own house with all the earnings and the hard work of his 35 years in the service, and then he had to leave within 1 year of construction of that house, that his wife almost went mad with grief. When I visited those Jagdi camp people and I saw those people, I've done recently this film called Kashmir Files, which I think hopefully will be the first representation of what actually happened to Kashmiri Pandits. So we need to fight back this scenario of Article 373, this CAA being brought back. Like there is a section of people now who are trying to sort of say that, oh, Article 370 should be not be sort of, it should be brought, it's not important, etc., etc. They are constantly going on and on about it. Every day I get to know so many news stories about, today I was listening to some, I think it was you only if I'm not mistaken, that Patliputra was as big as Rome. It was going through in some clubhouse. How in the last 6 years, at least the truth is coming out. Because for 70 years or 65 years or 70 years, they tried to hide the truth from this public of India, from the Indians. We have been ruled for 800 years by Mughal Samrats or whatever they are, or 200 years by the Britishers. But yet, the भारतीय सभ्यता जो है वो बरकरार रही है, because हमारी पुश्तें, हमारी जो जड़ें हैं बड़ी solid है, बड़ी strong है. और जब तक आप जैसे लोग इस तरह का सेमिनार करते रहेंगे, इस तरह की फिल्में बनाते रहेंगे, इस तरह की आवाज इकट्ठी करते रहेंगे, तब तक हमारा भविष्य है और रहना भी चाहिए. So once again, And I think it is important for us to get together to get these people the right to the citizenship in our own country. Why shouldn't they be given Aadhaar card? Why shouldn't their children, that gentleman was right, that unke paas doctors hain, unke paas qualifications hai, but they can't get a job. We should help them get that. We should send the copies of this film free, and I will help you in doing that, to everybody so that everybody sees that. क्योंकि जो दिखता नहीं है वो बिकता नहीं है. इसका दिखना बहुत जरूरी है. Nikhil, once again, for having the courage to produce this film, and the director and the entire team, I congratulate you and applaud you, and I wish you good luck. But any help that as an individual I can offer you, as a refugee in my own country, this country has given me amazing things. This country today, I just posted just now, in Russian army school, they are singing a patriotic song of India. ऐ वतन हमको तेरी कसम, ने पोस्ट किया, मुझे किसी ने भेजा. और हमको बताया जाता है कि आप पेट्रियोटिक होने की कोशिश मत करिए. Don't wear your patriotism on your shoulder. Why should you stand up when the national anthem should start playing? Why should you sort of say भारत माता की जय? मतलब इस तरह के सिनारियो बनाए जा रहे हैं, होने नहीं देंगे और होने भी नहीं देने चाहिए. सो आपको बहुत बहुत मुबारक, और आप सब लोगों को जिन्होंने भी इसका आयोजन किया, मैं आपको अभिनंदन करता हूं, और मैं आपका शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूं कि आपने ये फिल्म बनाई और आज इसका आपने यहाँ पर प्रीमियर किया है, और ये बहुत दूर तक ले जानी चाहिए. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद.
Thank you. Thank you, Anupam ji, for that thoughtful reflection. You know, I want to especially thank you for lifting the voice of Hindus, you know, sharing your experience, right, connecting the stories, bringing attention to the truth, right? Encouraging us to get on that truthful path. That's what we need to do. And thank you again for your dharmic work. Amazing. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Patel, did you have anything that you wanted to add to this, or should we move on?
We thank Anupam ji so much. With a short notice, he was able to spare the time. We know he's going through a lot of things in his own family and very busy acting career, and spending this much time with us, because we know that how much he cares about our Sanskruti and our humanity, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So we really appreciate Anupam ji for coming and joining me and talking to me many times in your busy schedule in the past couple of months. So really appreciate it, and pranam to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we know it's important for us to engage with policymakers. It's so important for us to focus on the truth, know the truth, share the truth. And we need to get this story out there. We need to share it. So thank you for all being on here. And I want to take this moment to give a shout out to Adele Nazarian from Newsmax, Rahul Roshan, the CEO of Op India, Swati Gol Sharma from Swarajya Magazine, Tahir Gora from Tag TV, Lalit Jha from PTI, Gayatri Joshi from TV Asia, Shuki Chalal, the driving force behind the Khalsa Today, and Manish Pandit from Saraswati Films. We are going to get this message out there. And with the support of Anupam ji, with all of you, we're going to share this message, get this truth out there. And of course, we want to engage with you. So we've got a little bit of time to take some questions and answers from the audience. If you have something that you want to ask, we'll see if we can direct it to the director, one of our panelists. Please put it in the Q&A box, right? It's hard to follow the questions in the chat. Put your questions in the Q&A box, and we will try and get to them as we move forward. So as those come in, again, thank you all for being here. Indic Dialogue, we'll put in the chat, sign up. Let's see how these questions are coming. And this is the general question that's in a lot of people's minds, right? Jigishi is asking, will the CA actually get implemented at the ground level? What's the update? I know it's state by state. There's all sorts of different issues going on. Do we want to try and address that? Somebody from Indic Dialogue or somebody from the panel? What is the update on the CA? Maybe Nikhilji, you have an update as well.
May I request you If there is a question directed at me, I would like to answer those one or two questions, and then you will have to excuse me. I did read Tahir Goraji raised his hand. I have a great regards for him. But before that, Shubh Sara mentioned that the same name documentary is available about the Jews. I think we need to do something. When I type our documentary, Stateless, we need to do something so that this documentary name also comes up. So that's for Nikhil to sort of do that, because it's important that we immediately get this documentary up front over there. But I will be happy to answer 2-3 questions, and then you will have to excuse me, as Dr. Patel said, that I have promised Kiranjit that from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock, anytime, anywhere I'm sitting in Mumbai, I will spend that time with her.
Well, again, thank you for sharing your time with us. So please put like @Anupamji in your question if it's specifically directed at Anupamji. I'm looking through the questions. Maybe you could share what projects you're working on, other ways that you're coming up, and one of the questions that please share that with us and how you're going to take this forward.
I don't think it's fair to sort of talk about myself and what films am I doing, because that's not fair. I think what is important is that we should today concentrate on the reason that we have all got together, and that's important. I just want to also say that on the same topic, that cinema is a great medium, and some people have used it for a different perspective, for a different story. Let's change that perception. Let's change. Unfortunately, a lot of filmmakers who I have great regards for did not pay attention to this side, and it's time that we do that. This side of what Hindus have gone through. The last statistics in the film are frightening. That from so many temples to so many people, from so many percentage of Hindu population to so many percentage, look at it. It's you know what is going on, and that's important. And if there is no question for me, I am happy to be saying bye-bye to you.
One question, Anupamji, thank you for focusing on the issue. That is so powerful and important, and serious respect for doing that. Anuragji is asking, what will it take for films like this to reach the world? And how does Bollywood move beyond masala?
These are two different questions. I think I don't want to run down the Bollywood masala films also. I think I'm part of that. And it's important to also entertain people. Let's not look down upon on the Hindi films or the cinema in India. I think we entertain 1.3 billion people. We put them together. We keep them together. And the joy of cinema is that when you are sitting in the dark auditorium, you are neither a Hindu or a Muslim or Isai or a Sikh. You are an audience, and that is the joy of Hindi cinema. But the best way for a film like this to reach out is word of mouth, and talk about it with power. Talk about it with good conviction. People will try to make you feel guilty for why are you raising this? What is it? Why should we talk? There was a nonsense going on for so many months on the streets of Delhi. So that perspective is fine. Why shouldn't we talk about it? We should not. There is no time for diplomacy. Don't try to be diplomatic about defending yourself. This whole idea, that's what they're wanting to do. They try to basically play on your decency. That you are a decent man, you will not loudly speak about what you feel the truth is all about. So let's not repeat the same mistake what we did about Kashmiri Pandits. And I'm an eternal optimist. I think it will happen. It has to happen. If not our generation, if not your generation, let the coming generation say that my father or my grandmother or my grandfather raised his or her voice about the refugees in their own country and Hindu refugees from other countries in those countries. It's important. That's how you become part of history. The history needs to be corrected sometimes.
Ankurji, before you move on, I'd just like to highlight just one thing. Thank you, Anupam sir, for your time. Me, Manvendra, Basukinath Pandey, and Abhinav, we all of us love it. We're glad you're here. Ankurji and everybody else, what is unique in this particular case of refugees, and this is my second film on the subject, is that they live under the constant fear that their young girl will be abducted any of these days. This is a unique scenario across all refugees the world has seen. And whatever Yazidis have faced by ISIS is this version, this is the test case of that version. And I think in civilized society, we are in the 21st century now. I don't think the world should tolerate this kind of a behavior. Sure, there is religious persecution, religious discrimination. There are all kinds of racism in the world, but nobody else faces this issue that if you are a father, if you are a brother, you are constantly worried that one of these days some unknown person will come, abduct your daughter, and 2 days later, voila, she's converted and she's married to somebody else. And the court will say this marriage is valid. So that was the only thing I wanted to highlight.
Well, it's frightening that it happened recently in Kashmir also. There was attempt to get two Sikh girls married to somebody in an intercaste marriage forcibly. So what I'm trying to say, don't wait for, I have great respect for journalists. I have some very dear friends of mine as journalists, but don't wait for journalists to write your side of the story. Today, everybody has a platform, however many followers they have, whether they have 10 followers, but he or she can change the mind. Write the truth on your social media. Social media is a great platform to talk about the truth. Don't wait for somebody else to speak about on your behalf. We are lucky that we are in this time, and that's how we've all got together and sort of look at this power of this technology that you people are somewhere in America, I am in Mumbai, and yet we are talking about the same topic. So keep up the great work and all the best to all of you. Namaskar, Jai Hind. Thank you. I'll have to go.
Thank you. Thank you for being generous with your time and engaging. Thank you, Anupamji. Dhanyawad. Beautiful. Wow, Nikhilji, thank you for also jumping in there. Your film is so important. We've got 35 questions in the Q&A box. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of them, so we'll do some curating and we'll ask as they go. Please be precise with your questions. I've shared the link to donate in the chat. Thank you, Parthaji, for asking that question. So maybe Nikhilji, Sunilji is asking, could you please share some details of some of the NGOs working with these refugees? Maybe in your experience, who was out there already? Who did you engage with? How did you get those interviews? How was that whole process of making the film?
Right. If Manvendra is available. So what we do is we contact the people who are already working with refugees, because otherwise they have no reason to trust somebody who comes from Mumbai with a camera. And these are local people there, the local community leaders. Harilalji, one of the person who you saw was talking about Pakistan, is the older guy. He is an activist who works there. He himself is a Pakistani refugee. He came to Jodhpur in 1971 and is also an elected member now. So he was the point person for us. We contacted him, and so anybody. So before I answer this question, there are two aspects to the film. One is we trying to show it to as many people as we can, to people who are in policy making circles and all of those things. And second, as private individuals, how can we help them with their day-to-day lives? So I'm very excited, as and when COVID permits, to screen it in Jodhpur and actually appeal the local people there to give them small work, maybe cleaning the shops or what have you. So I think that those are two facets of it. I'm interested in both sides of it. Anybody who wants to help out in any of these things, please be our guest. I will be forever grateful to you. So I hope I have answered that question. Also, Tahir Goraji has raised his hand since forever. So I think we should give him that benefit of being the first person to raise hands, if we can.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Tahirji, for being on. Got you on as a panelist. Please share your camera and ask or make a statement. Thank you for being on, Tahirji.
Right. Thank you very much, Nikhilji, for creating such a good movie, I must say. I have shown those clips, what you use in your movie, many times in my talk shows. And it's a good step. And now I know you have created another sort of a documentary on Ahmadi Muslims persecution issue as well. But unfortunately, I know from the very first-hand experience, even Ahmadis and Shias don't share Hindus' concerns in Pakistan. I mean, they are more loyal to Pakistan than even to Sunnis, because half of my friends and family members are from Ahmadis. So the issue is, do you plan to make any movie involving Westerner presenters so that that issue could reach to Western audience broadly?
It's a great question, Ajay. Thank you for your time. Of course, as I follow you on YouTube, so I'm aware of your work. And so I'll quickly take the Ahmadi Shia question first. So when I was making Himalayan Refugee, which is on Ahmadis, they repeatedly asked me if, why was I as an Indian interested in their story? And much to my dismay, irrespective of how many times I told them that, this is a human rights story, they kept asking it, and they were trying to insinuate that I was trying to bring bad name to their home country. And I respectfully said that a country that unfortunately gets caught with Osama bin Laden in their midst do not need a broke filmmaker like me to bring disrepute to them. So that's not really the idea. The idea is to, as a filmmaker, I can only be truthful. I can't assume that it will change the world. But if I've changed the lives of even 10 people, even if one of those refugees' family can find some kind of a solace, some kind of a local help, and I will consider my 6 months and my own money worth all of it. As far as a Western presenter is concerned, the problem is a lot of people who come to India from the Western side of the globe, they come up reading about India from a non-Indian perspective. And they always come in with that kind of a conventional wisdom. I wouldn't call it a bias. If that's what you're reading, then that's how you feel. So then it becomes difficult for somebody like me to engage with them in that sense. Also, there's this tendency of, there's a few problem to that idea. Is I, as a filmmaker, will do as good a job without a Caucasian face in front of the camera. And it is about time that if a Korean film can win the best film at Oscars with English subtitles, then I think this is 2021. I shouldn't need a Caucasian person, and we will fight it one film at a time. My primary goal is to get as many Nikhil Singhs and Manvendra Singhs. So my tribe is growing in that sense, that we have to tell these stories, irrespective of however it affects us. We have to bring these stories out. And hopefully people like Indic Dialogues and people like that will surely pick it up. You are aware, nobody picked up Himalayan Refugee. It was an important story. Even their own community didn't pick it up. So I can't help that. I can only do my job. And I can do my job seriously and truthfully. So that has been my year. Thank you for your time, sir. My entire team. It's not my film. Please, Basukinath Pandit, the editor, Sudhanshu Gar, the music director, Manvendra and his entire team that actually went and shot there, did all the research. They're all here. They all can't be on the camera, so you have to do it with my ugly face. So So that's that. So thank you for your time, sir. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank
And
you.
I hope you'll feature this and keep doing the great work you already do.
Thank you. I will. Thank you. I'll stay in touch, and I would love to have your exclusive interview on this issue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. So again, there's quite a few questions. Looking for priorities if you have being specific. So Sanjesh Ji is asking, what will the future of Hindu minorities and government? That's actually not the best question, but in terms of the path to citizenship, what is the government doing in different states? And just like that general update on what the CAA is being implemented, I think that's and where we're at in that's an important part of the conversation. And I'm curious if one of our panelists wants to give an update. Nikhilji, if you're on the ground, you know somebody who can share on that. One of your team. Again, it takes a whole team. You've done so much research. I know there's so many people that go into this. If you have somebody else that you want to bring in on this, please do. We can add a couple more panelists.
Sure. Can we have Manvendra for a while? Because he's the director and I really love to see him. Also about the CAA, the update is since COVID turned our world upside down, nobody has been able to focus on anything other than it. So we don't hear any communication on it. But most important, CAA or no CAA, Hindu refugees from Pakistan has been living in Punjab, Rajasthan, and the local authorities there, the DMs, the MLAs, the MPs, they know about it, and their lives will change drastically by just one identity card. And nobody wants to go illegal and get them an ID card illegally. We want to do it legally because it is the right thing to do, and it will happen. It will happen. I think right now, COVID has really done it so much. Please meet Manvendra. Manvendra is the director of the film, and Ankurji. So he is the person on the ground.
Yeah, please share some of your thoughts, Manvendraji. Thank you, and Nikhilji for bringing this team together. The director of the film, Manvendraji, please.
Yeah, so when I met Nikhil, I already knew that something great is going to come up because, you know, he has a lot of experience about documentary making. I myself had a passion for documentary for almost 5 years. I was working separately and on different projects. But then once we started discussing about the topic, which, was in front of us, there was a lot of research required in terms of human experience, what kind of experience they have gone through and exact kind of pain and that kind of things. And to capture it on live camera sort of situation where they're right in front of you and they're on the verge of breakdown as well. So you have to be very careful and it has to be. So it was really tough for initial few days, but then they accepted us as they a part of the community. They knew that we were there to listen to them, not telling our version, wanted to hear what they wanted to say. And finally, we kind of got that kind of emotions on camera. And then from rigorous work from editors and from assistant directors and everyone in the team, cinematographer, everyone, Nikhil's support, all of us came together and finally got the story the way we wanted to, present. And just to give some kind of relief, I would say, to all the refugees who were there. Yeah.
Right. I'll quickly, can I take Ketanji's question, Ankurji, just so I'll quickly get the question. It's directed to me, if you allow me.
Yeah, please.
So his question is, can this movie be shown to UN Human Rights Council? Only Indic Dialogue can do that. So I'd probably use this question to request Ankurji and Adityaji and everybody else, people who, I'm a filmmaker, I can make a film. And then the activists and the policy makers. And so my idea is to make the film moving and truthful enough so that people are inspired to take it there. I hope it will happen. Parthaji has a question. It's hard to imagine movies like these making money. How can we ensure movie makers are compensated, encouraged to take up subjects? So that has been my, how do I increase my tribe? Um, so that has been my primary job. And it's one film at a time. It's one film at a time. Nobody else is responsible for your financial well-being. The audience certainly isn't. The audience can only pay for the movie they are watching. But it takes a lot of effort, a lot of guts, especially if you are aware about the political scenario in India. A lot of my filmmaker friends who are my 3 AM buddies, have seen the trailer and they've said that I don't want to see this film. So there's a lot of personal cost attached to it. We all have our sources of income, and that's that. So the least you can do is maybe donate to pay to watch the film, and but most importantly, the issue is bigger than the film, and the filmmakers are even smaller. So I would rather say that donate it to the people who are affected. So that would be my.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikhilji. We're going to be sharing this film. Sign up on the website, share it in your city. This is what we're about, trying to get this kind of message out there. Thank you for putting this together. We have Mihirji, founding member of Hindu American Foundation, going to join us for a few words. Thank you for being here. Yeah, please. You are still on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you. Namaste, everyone. Great video. Just keep it real short. I think for everyone on here, I'm seeing a lot of chat messages about what we can do. I think we need to realize, like what Anupamji said, and Nikhil and others have said, there's a whole group of forces that don't want this story told. And so it's not just that we need to show this movie, but we need to show this movie. We need to advocate, we need to lobby, and we need to keep doing it over and over and over, because this is a great movie, and it totally makes sense. But the other side has had a head start of about 10 years on propaganda. And so the challenge before all the groups here, Indic Dialogue, Hindu University of America, Kona, HAF, HSS, VHP, and whatever groups we're representing, we have to realize that the content is here. Nikhil's movie now, the ones in the past, we've got reports, books, but we need to make sure that the right people keep hearing our message over and over until the other side wears out, moves to the next issue, because this issue of what's happening to Hindus in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh is not going to end now. It's going to continue in our lifetime. So we've got a long battle to fight. So, happy at a later point, maybe after this, to just share our experiences as the Hindu American Foundation on the Hill, because we have had a few hearings and briefings on these issues. But again, we have 435 members of Congress to change. And right now we're probably reaching about 50 or 60. That's not enough to change the tide. We've got to influence both political parties and, academia. We've got to change that group as well, and the American media. So once we get everybody on board, things are going to change. It's a long battle. I appreciate this whole team that put this movie together, Manvendra, Nikhil, all of you. A few suggestions I will give, because I don't have expertise here, but if you're able to get this movie recognized in film festivals, get some awards, that's going to help, because the anti-Hindu groups are very good at getting their things there. We all know the other Patwardhan from Mumbai who gets awards all the time, not to mention his name. But we need to get our movies into those circles, because there are people who will be open-minded if they get something, they see something in whatever those film festivals in France and whatever. So if we get some momentum there, there'll be more acceptance, and it'll be accepted in more of the liberal and activist circles, which often we're left out of. So that's my suggestion. And the only other suggestion, if I may humbly, I'd say for the American political circle, if we want to get support from, let's say, conservatives or Republicans, for example, if you're able to interview a Christian refugee, maybe also add in some Sikh refugees. I know we had some images of Sikhs in the movie. and maybe also throw in a Bangladeshi or an Afghan refugee interview. It'll make it a little bit broader rather than India, Pakistan, or a Hindu Muslim issue, which your movie wasn't, but it'll just make it broader. So we can go to a congressman and say, hey, look, Pakistani Christians are being persecuted just like us. It'll help the overall effort. But that's not to say that this isn't a great movie, and I look forward to promoting it. Thanks again, and sorry for taking up too much time here.
Thank you, Mihirji. And what you were addressing was great in terms of lots of the questions are focused on what are we going to do next? How are we going to get engaged? What's the plan? And so thank you for taking the time to address that. Again, sign up with Indic Dialogue. We're going to follow up. Dr. Patel, I think you might have a few words and then we'll go to our vote of thanks. Sorry for not getting to everyone's questions, but we are just getting the conversation started. We are going to continue this work. We're going to bring new films. We're going to share this film more. We're going to keep on growing this. Dr. Patel, a few last thoughts, and then we'll go to our vote of thanks.
Great. Thank you everyone for joining. We know that this is the first attempt of its kind outside of Bharat that address issues of minorities. The stories regarding minorities must come out. We see these films, excellent film from Nikhilji, despite the political backslash that may follows. Many people, including women, children, and poor, are suffering, and their hardships must be addressed in order to come up with a solution. We have to develop more and more documentaries. Indic Dialogue is committed. We'll be making more films with the help of Nikhilji and other producers in the coming time. We have to encourage more documentaries like this one. Documentaries such as this one will help reveal unheard stories, specifically the communities such as the Kashmiri Pandit, as Anupam ji already elaborated. And I encourage and I request all well-meaning people should help. Please support. We know that without then nothing is possible. So I will appreciate any help you guys can give it to us. We need to raise awareness and discuss the root causes of the problem, find solution in order to help each other. Minorities issues should be discussed on an international forum. We should bring it to UN as well as some good international forum, and make sure the people, those who are going to oppose or try to disturb us for what we're doing, we need to get united. Let's get strong and continue our efforts. Thanks for all the help.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. Rakhi-ji, Aditya-ji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nikhil-ji, Manvinder-ji, and your entire team for bringing such an important subject out to the world and at such a crucial time. Being a fellow filmmaker myself, I understand the value of art that is honest and brave, one which does not shy away from speaking the truth, and your film does exactly that by lending voice to the community. On behalf of everyone here, I want to thank all the people who were a part of this film, both behind the camera, selflessly lending their time, energy, and creativity for a non-commercial project. And especially to the people who appear in the film. It can't be stressed enough that while they are still in a difficult and dire situation, they allowed themselves to be filmed. So deepest thanks to all of them. I also want to convey my deepest gratitude to Sri Anupam Kher for being here today and supporting such an important subject. His presence gives hope to many unheard voices. Finally, thanks to all the viewers on this Zoom session, as well as all our audience members who are watching this on YouTube. Over to you, Rakhi-ji.
Thank you. As mentioned before, we wish to actively promote the story of these helpless people living stateless in India in cities across the United States. And so we humbly request the help of any individual, anyone who can help us do so. If you or anyone you know can coordinate such a launch in their individual cities here in the United States or anywhere in the world, please reach out to us at indicdialogue.org/contact. Also, please follow us on social media. We will share our social media handles in the chat. If you missed the video in the beginning, we will be replaying it following this program. Thank you again for attending and for your interest in this subject matter. Please remember that the suffering of one represents the suffering of all. Namaste and have a wonderful rest of the day.